All right, hi. This is welcome to another edition of the Skull Sessions. This is Dan Henk, and today my guest is Max D. Stanton. Is that correct?
That is correct. Hey Dan, thanks for having me on.
All right, cool, dude. So, what do you got going on?
Well, so on June 8th, I am releasing my new novel, Frankenstein Enterprises. Uh, and basically, the gist of this is a book that imagines what would happen if Victor Frankenstein lived in the present day and was also the richest billionaire on Earth.
Right.
So yeah, he in 1994, Dr. Frankenstein comes out with the secret recipe for immortality. He gets a patent on it. He attracts a bunch of venture capitalist funding, and he starts this huge company that sells zombies to people as workers. So before long, you got zombies who are working in fast food restaurants, zombies that are working in factories, driving cabs, policing the streets, fighting wars, and all of that. So the book is 30 different sort of interconnected chapters about life under different perspectives of this high-tech necro-capitalism, where you've got big business and zombies working together to bring about the apocalypse.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, is it more like a ledger, like World War Z, or is it more like it follows a full script where like with developments and characters and events?
This is more of a World War Z thing. World War Z was a big influence here. I thought that was really cool in that the way that he just created this world and this narrative out of all of these different perspectives, all these different viewpoints on the zombie apocalypse. So yeah, I definitely knew that I wanted to try something sort of along similar lines here.
Did you see the movie Fido?
I do not. I have heard of it. It is definitely on my watch list. I know that yeah, that deals with some similar ideas as well.
It sounds like your zombies are a little bit more developed. The ones in Fido is like this company comes up with the collar and put it around the neck and it makes them kind of passive. So they'll like mow the lawn, they'll be like waiters and stuff. Like they couldn't be cops, they're not that developed, but yeah, it's a way to control them. And of course, it being a slightly horror movie, some
Of
of the
course.
colors go bad and people get eaten, but whatever.
As is the way of the zombie movie. Yeah,
Right, right.
people tend to
Well,
get
something
eaten.
always goes wrong.
Well, and again, I don't want to give away too many plot developments here, but yeah, there's certainly things that go wrong in Frankenstein Enterprises, but it's even a little bit more troubling when things are going right. Because you got these zombies, these walking corpses, you can tell them to do anything, and there's a lot of bad uses you can put zombies to.
Right.
I was thinking through a lot of different angles on it, a lot of different ways that these things could be misused, and yeah, it's pretty horrible.
And they're kind of disposable workers, so if they die, that's a zombie.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So, what is there like a zombie apocalypse? Is it more like the people are dying and they found a way to kind of bring them back? What's the premise?
Oh well, there's an apocalypse, but it's more of sort of a slow motion apocalypse. The apocalypse where people are still sort of going to their jobs and carrying on as things are sort of slowly falling apart around them. Kind of that Children of Men type sense
Oh
of
yeah.
of just sort of gradual slouching into collapse. And yeah, so the way that the company gets the dead bodies for the zombies is actually well they got a lot of ways. They get the dead bodies through a number of programs. One of the stories is about a corporate grave robber who goes around stealing them. But their main way is through this donor pension program where Frankenstein Enterprises will, pay you some small amount of money every month, and then when you die, they get the rights to your body to raise up and reanimate and sell or use for whatever purposes. Yeah, that's the sort of economics of how they're making it work.
Okay. Yeah, I always like that premise when people kind of play around with it. Like, have you read Old Man's War?
John Scalzi,
Yeah.
a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and like if you make it before you're dead, then you become one thing. If you die, then you become something else. So, like, was that kind of your feeling of it? Like, I guess you could keep people alive if, like, they were near death, but if they're already dead, they become one of those kind of control zombies.
Well, so not so much along the lines of like how the person dies necessarily, because however you die, they can bring you back using the Frankenstein process, but more like a thing where there's different sort of models that are available depending on how much you want to spend on your personal zombie. So if you just want something that's gonna push a lawnmower around and you don't care how it looks, they got some basic service models for that. It's not going to be super expensive. If you want a little bit of a higher class zombie, something that can ring up purchases at a store or something, that's something that's got some speech capabilities. That's going to set you back a little bit more. And if you want the really intense top of the line models, well, those can do some pretty crazy stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know in like so John Scalzi did the Old Man's War, and then his follow was called the Ghost Brigades. So, like, if you die before they manage to like transition you, then they kind of bring you back to life, but you have no memories really of the past life. But they kind of bury, so some stuff comes up eventually. Were you thinking of incorporating something like that?
Also, I don't want to give away again. I don't want to give away too many spoilers here. But the idea of the zombie consciousness and how much is sort of rattling around in there, and do they have any memories of their past lives as they're being put through these ordeals? That is something that the book does touch on, and yeah, no, it's certainly something that I play with here. And if I ever write the sequel that I've got rattling around in my head, then I'm going to yeah, play with that even more.
Okay. And how did you approach it? Like, you're saying, is there more letters, or is it more like journal entries of incidents as they occur?
Not it's sort of a mix of things. So some of them are first person narratives where it's a character talking to you. For example, there's one of those that's a this woman whose son passes away, and then later she finds him working at the local supermarket at the deli counter, and so she's telling this first person story about her life and going through this. I've got some others that are sort of more third person. Some are, more action oriented. Some are more crime oriented. Some are horror. Some are funny. Oh, and I do have, yeah, a bunch of little sort of letters and things like you're talking about, sort of scattered throughout. Between each chapter, I've got a different one of those. So let me find a few examples. So I've got like advertisements for Frankenstein products, reviews from the Frankenstein online store, newspaper articles, bits from the repair manual, things from biographies of Victor Frankenstein, all these little excerpts of in-world texts or books to sort of help the story come alive and the world come alive.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like kind of a cool, interesting premise. So is some of it is like first person, like it's in the right here and now, and then some is more like a description of what occurred?
Exactly, yeah.
And like they're all in little snippets, like kind of like in World War Z, where it's like, okay, this would happen here, this would happen here.
Yep, each one's its own. Not exactly self-contained because they do sort of, cross into each other. A character from one might show up in another, and so on. But yeah, each one I try to tell, yeah, just sort of its own unique little short story about life in the world of Frankenstein Enterprises.
Okay. Was there something that kind of like sparked your desire to tell this tale? Was there like some like one thing that you're like this is a thing that kind of coalesce everything into this? Like was it like reading Frankenstein? Was it like watching zombie movies? A whole like collation of everything?
Kind of all of the above. So it actually the genesis. This is a book I've been working on and thinking on for a long time now. It took a long time to come up with it and complete it. Where back when I was younger, I read Frankenstein and I had the sort of contrarian idea of, what if Frankenstein had actually been able to get, funding and backing, and if people had listened to him and taken him seriously instead of just calling him a mad scientist, he wouldn't have had to do this stuff out in the middle of nowhere with nobody to help him. He could have done it under controlled circumstances, and it would have been this terrific scientific achievement. So it's really like the scientific community that was the monster for not listening to him. And so I had that thought that I was kicking around for a while, and then sort of I started to think through all the different implications of it. So like, all right, what would he actually do with this ability to raise the dead? How could you actually make money off of that? And sort of as I started to think through all the possibilities in my head and all the sort of ramifications of sort of what he would need in order to do that, and what would become of all the rest of us, it just started to get sort of more and more ominous over time. Until I realized, you know what, this is actually a pretty cool premise for a book. I've got to do something with this.
Was it something that kind of evolved like over the years, like in your head? Like, I have this story I want to tell, and then you're like, hey, I'll add this aspect to it, and I'll add this element.
So it's there's some friends of mine who run this wonderful bookstore in Philly, a novel idea on Passyunk, it's called, and they started doing these open mic events where they would bring in sort of local people, anyone it's my open mic, anyone who wants to read something, and sort of local people who are poets or writers or comedians could all come and sort of try out their material there. And I got into that, and it's a really great bunch of people, really fun to sort of read what I'm working on, good motivation to keep writing. And so I started going to this, and I would write the Frankenstein chapters for it and read those at this open mic events, and people really seemed to respond to it and get into it, and that inspired me to keep on writing it and working at it.
So, how long is it now? Like, would you extrapolate it out to like how many pages? Like,
It's I can tell you that right now. It is 321 pages, and I think about 30 different chapters.
okay,
Uh,
and
30 different chapters, and 30 different of those sort of in between bits, the advertisements, the flyers, the things like that.
okay. So, do you have some illustrations in there as well, like within the flyers or whatever?
I do not. Oh, that would have been a cool thing to do. I don't actually have anything like that. Maybe if there's ever sort of an elaborate second edition,
Yeah,
I'll
you
ask
can do
for some
expanded
of the
edition. Add that.
flourishes. No, that's
Yeah.
a cool idea. Thinking back now, I should have done that. One of the interesting things about publishing a book is you immediately realize all the things that you suddenly wish you had done differently, or written a little bit differently, or formatted, or so on.
No, I hear you. My first book came out in like 2011, and I recently rewrote it. I was like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have added that. So when it came out, like I spent like probably like 80 hours like rewriting and editing it and adding, illustrations, whatever. But yeah, you can always make it stronger. But like I always thought it was a great story, and I just like buttress it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's editing's really tough work, and it's hard to know when to put a line under it and call it a day, because eventually if you want other people to read it, you gotta pick a point and say I'm done here. But boy howdy, it's not easy to figure out exactly when that point should be.
Yeah, no, it's very easy to like put too much into it or not enough into it, and then you kind of learn over time. Um, do you have like beta readers or people that like kind of give you feedback on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I got some friends and family and whatnot to read it over, give me some feedback. I had the open mics, which were a good source of feedback, and yeah,
Okay, and is it out now or is it something that's
it
coming out?
is. So it is coming out. It's going to be available for sale next week on June 8th, coming right up. It is available for pre-order right now. If you go to Frankenstein enterprises.com.
Okay, and yeah, I'll put a link to that up. Are you getting it for sale on like Amazon or Barnes and Nobles? Like pretty much
Absolutely.
everything?
Yep. All your sort of leading online retailers.
Do you have a publisher putting out everywhere? Did you use Draft Digital or Ingram Spark or something like that?
I Ingram sparked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like super into that. And the problem with like I remember back in the day, it was like, it's not a real book unless a traditional publisher does it. And now a lot of people are like, no, they have too heavy of a hand, and I make so little off of it. I learned that the hard way. I was like, you're selling it for $16, but I make 35 cents a copy.
And I mean, it's not like you do that much better in the self-publishing. It's not a great money-making scheme either way. Yeah, I did the with
But
my
you
with
have the potential because you own it.
yeah, fingers crossed. With my first book, A Season of Loathsome Miracles. That was a collection that came out through Trepidatio Publishing, and that one, I had a good time working with them. I thought it was, being published, having someone pick it up and say, we like this, we want to publish it. That's a really cool feeling. But on the other hand, like my journey of trying to get it published, the Frankenstein, that is, it just had been going on for sort of so long. It had been not meeting with a whole lot of success. And I think to myself, like, why not just get it? Yeah, the most important thing for me is just sort of like getting it out there, having people be able to
And
read
the
it.
marketplace aside, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've got a day job. I would like to make as much money off of this as possible, but really, I'm just trying to be creative and express myself here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. No, and I know that like back in the day, they used to promote you a lot more. And now, unless you're like Stephen King or Dean Arcus, like they don't do the promotion. Like you might even be on a major label, you have to promote yourself.
Promote, yeah, that's the thing. Promotion is tough stuff. It's as a writer, I'd rather be working on plot and characters and story than on how do I optimize my content so that the Facebook algorithm will share it the most widely. That sort of stuff is not what I came here for.
But you kind of have to do it. Like you have
But you
to
can't.
put it, yeah.
If you want to get read, you kind of have to do it. So yeah, I got that whole world to explore, and trying to promote it as best I can through word of mouth and podcasts like yours.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on again. Yeah, I noticed like the minute somebody hacked into my Facebook, so then I
Oh,
created
jeez.
two new pages. One because I'm a tattoo artist, I own a shop, so I made a tattoo page and I made an author page. And the minute I made an author page and it says, Dan Henk author on it, all these people like cockroaches came out and they're like, we'll do marketing for you. Like, and then there are people that want you to pay for reviews and like all that sort of stuff. I think is you know a waste of time, a waste of money, and it's probably going to do you more harm than good.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I would actually love to be able to hire somebody who would really know this stuff and really do a great job of the marketing, but it's so hard to tell, who's legit and who's a spammer. With these days with the artificial intelligence, the people that you're talking to trying to sell you stuff might not even be human beings at all.
It's true, and you also get people like they'll be like 18 or 20, they just entered the field and they're like, yeah, I'm the best marketer in the world. I've kind of come down to the thing where I'm like, okay, who have you promoted? Like, I'll talk to them personally and see if they did a good job. If you did a good job for them, like, did you promote Neil Gaiman? Did you promote Stephen King? Or are you just like somebody, like they'll get back to me with like, well, I promoted this book. I'm like, yeah, that's a romance. You don't even know the market.
Yeah, it's a tough business, it's hard to know who you can trust, and sometimes you just got to do the job yourself.
Yeah, well, I've had some good experiences with like once I got on like doing good conventions and the right forums and stuff. Like people are into that stuff. Speaking of which, do you do any conventions or anything that you're using to promote it where you're going there and doing a personal appearance?
Yeah, so I'm only doing a personal appearance in the sense that I'm going to be sort of a ticketed customer, but Necronomicon Providence, I try to make it up to every couple of years.
Yeah,
I
so do I actually. Yeah, like
Oh, awesome.
every other year is like the author year. Like one year it's the film year and one year is the author year.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and yeah, I love that convention. It's always fun to see Providence, and so yeah, I'll be there, and I'll have a box of books with me if anyone is interested in picking some up.
You just missed out on SugarCon too. Like SugarCon was in Pittsburgh last year. Like I went last year, but this year it's in San Diego. I'm like, I'm not traveling out to San Diego.
Yeah, that's a long trek. I'd like to do StokerCon some year. I've never been to that one yet.
Well, I've actually found like, so I did SugarCon, I got a vendor table, and I also did one of the conferences, like the seminars. And, when I had the table, I was like, there's not a lot of traffic here. Like, I'm kind of surprised for such a big thing. But then you go and you do the seminars, and they're packed. So I guess like people who are authors or potential authors, that's where they go to. They go to the seminars.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I found some really good like author conventions like KillerCon in Austin is good.
hmm.
The Scares and Cares is really good. That's in Williamsburg every year.
I'd love
The
an excuse to go back to Austin, so that would be a good one.
Yes, talk to uh I'll put you in touch with some people, but there's KillerCon is great. There's Dallas AuthorCon, which is good. And there's, like I said, Scares and Cares. There's SecretCon, which, like, I had mixed results. Like, a lot of people talk a big game, but then they talk a big game and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
So I don't know about SecretCon. Maybe that was just my experience. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's different everywhere you go, and it's really it's the people who make these things great. Just like going like running into folks that you'd seen at like the last convention, folks whose books you've enjoyed, and just being able to see them in person, say hi, and all that gives me the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, and there are some cool people that attend a lot of those that do really good work. And like I found that most people that do really good work are really friendly. like some of them might be a little socially awkward at first, but like once you get past the barrier and they realize you're a real person, it's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah. Oh, here I got a fun Necronomicon Providence story for you.
Okay.
I'm last year I'm heading up there, and
I was there last year.
oh, awesome, cool. And my and I'm going to the airport to go through, and my wonderful wife had gotten me as a present sometime earlier a necklace of human ears. Now these are rubber ears, mind you. You know that no,
That's
no,
your Vietnam,
yeah,
so.
no, it's so this is just a sort of prop trophy, but still, it's very realistic looking. It's very gory looking. Like this could be like a pretty good movie prop or something like that. And so I figure I'm going to a horror convention. Let me bring along my garland of ears. It'll be a fun alternative to the usual sort of name tag holder. And I'm going through the airport security when they pull my bag over.
Were you wearing that in airport security or was it in your bag?
Well, oh, no, no, no. I wasn't wearing the necklace of ears through the airport. No, the necklace the necklace of ears was tucked away in my bag. But then as I'm going through the checkout line, I see the TSA people like getting interested in my bag, and like they find something inside, and like they call me over, and I'm like, oh no, they found the necklace of ears. Are they going to mistake that for the real thing? Am I going to get in trouble here? Turns out I just had a bottle of Listerine in my bag that I
Oh, okay.
so they told me I had to get rid of that. The garland of ears they either never noticed or just ignored. So so that's my story about bringing a necklace of ears through airport security.
Yeah, I've noticed NSA does not have a sense of humor. Like I had like a banner in like a fishing pole container, and I remember I was bringing that through, and they're like, "What's in that?" And I'm like, "A bazooka."
Oh
They
yeah,
did not find that amusing at all.
yeah, you're not supposed to say that.
You know how many people NSA is caught? Like how many terrorists and what is it, over a decade they've been there? At this point, it's more than 2 decades.
Yeah, no, it's this yeah, just this institution of its own these days.
But do you know how many terrorists they've caught?
I do not. I believe it.
It's probably just a way to waste your time and money. Like, well, that's the government in general. But anyways, so how can people get a hold of you? Do you have a Amazon
Yeah.
Authors page? Do you have a website?
So all of the above. Yeah, I got my Frankenstein Enterprises website. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I got an Amazon author page. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I don't do TikTok.
You don't
But
do the dances on TikTok?
I reached a certain point in my life where I said to myself, Max, you are old enough that you're just like you can't do any more of these new social media platforms. You know the ones that you know. I'm not doing any more of
It's
them.
like the creepy old guy at the bar. You're like, what are you doing here?
Exactly. Yeah. No. Like TikTok. This is not for me. Nobody wants me there.
Right. Well, I know a lot of people complain about TikTok. They're like, "Oh, well, the Chinese government is spying on you." I'm like, "What do you think happens with Instagram? Who they like? If people are spying you, they're gonna spy on you."
Yeah, and oh, and this is actually let me bring it back to Frankenstein Enterprises for a moment because so
And they
the
spy on you. But go ahead.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. So here's the thing. So these zombies, they're all hooked up to this worldwide computer network called Igor that coordinates them and helps them see and walk and take orders and whatnot. So you can go on your phone and send a command into the Igor network, and that'll tell your zombies what to do. But you've also got this consequence of that of you've
And I
got this.
guess if they decide they want to kill you, they could like go, by the way, I'll program this and you'll be like a even better than Manchurian candidate.
Exactly. Yeah, because you've got this huge network of zombies that has eyes and ears all over the planet everywhere. So they've got all this information about everyone that they're just constantly sucking up so that Igor is learning and watching and yeah, sort of gathering all of our secrets. So there's a big, yeah, some big subplots in this zombie book about data privacy and yeah, corporations getting our information through these surveillance devices that are now implanted just everywhere all around us.
Yeah, and, that's very realistic. Like Elon Musk is talking about a chip in your brain. I'm like,
Yeah.
and there are good things to that, like, instant recall of anything you want from the dictionary, but there are bad things. So I'm like, I saw Terminator. I remember
Yeah.
Skynet.
Oh, and look, worse than that even, because you got the chips put into your head, and then you got people showing advertisements that you can't get out of
Right.
your head, things like that.
Or they go, I want you to think this. Beep.
On the
And then
on the
you're screwed.
subject of Elon Musk, Frankenstein Enterprises also has a rocketry enterprise that they got their Igor network to set up, so they need satellites all over the place. And of course, they are working on the conquest of outer space.
Are they sending zombies into
They're sending
space?
they're sending zombies to Mars. Yeah, I got a chapter in this about the Frankenstein Enterprise's astronaut, where they send up this mission that's got one human astronaut whose job is basically just sort of like to get the zombies to Mars and sort of like get them set up. And from there, the zombies will sort of do everything else because they're ideal Mars colonists. They don't eat, they don't rest, they don't complain. They just do their
Do
job.
they need oxygen?
They do not. Well, they do not need oxygen. No, they don't breathe anymore. They get an electrical charge instead. Um, so yeah, now they got to have a few modifications for the Martian surface. They got their blood replaced with liquid antifreeze and things like that. But yeah, they're great astronauts.
Yeah, no, that's clever. Yeah. I hate when people like they take stuff and they just break scientific rules. Like they'll, you know, like in the old days, like they have astronauts, without a helmet on, in
Yeah.
space and stuff. But yeah, no, that's clever. It sounds like you thought it through. All right, man. So you know, you're saying the website is the best way to see it?
Probably, yeah. For Frankenstein-enterprises.com.
Okay. And it's gonna be up on Amazon or it's up now?
It's up now for pre-order. So if you want, you can put in a pre-order for it, and it's officially on sale starting June 8th.
Okay. All right, man. So do you have anything else you want to add? Like anything you want to talk about, sell, have people give you money for?
If so, I got my first book as well, Season of Loathsome Miracles. I got a link to this one too at Frankenstein Enterprises. This real fun short story collection. I really like putting together a lot of I think are pretty good stories in there. So if folks want to check that out as well, then please
You're all
please
about it.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I
My
appreciate it.
my pleasure.
And
Thanks for having me.